How's it going, you guys? So in a recent live stream, I had a subscriber ask me, what are my best recommendations for books to give you a fundamental understanding of nutrition science and to avoid misinformation that's commonly spouted by a lot of charlatans. There's a lot of people with medical degrees who spew a lot of nonsense, either to sell some products, some of their supplements, or just because they're playing crazy and they have these crazy ideas that don't align with basic human physiology. And a lot of times this can lead people down a rabbit hole of orthorexia or a rabbit hole of misinformation that leads nowhere, where people just continuously are obsessed with misinformation, like alkaline diets and things like that. And either they don't get any results, or most of the time, more often, they actually get negative results and negative health outcomes. So, in order to avoid that, understanding physiology is very important. But that's not going to come until you have a basic foundation of understanding of how health works, what is healthy, why is it healthy, so that you can then do deeper research into the mechanisms and science and things like that. So, in order to avoid misinformation and being bamboozled by really bad advice, and in order to identify all that, you're going to have to start to get into my intermediate book recommendations, which I will be making a separate video on. So search my channel name and then intermediate reading list, and it'll pop up. And it'll have some basic nutrition science textbooks and things like that. But this book is for the this video is for the absolute beginner who doesn't really have a basic foundation of human physiology, health science, or any of that, doesn't know where to start, and just wants to know what is healthy and why. So this is going to be very, very simple. I'm going to give a book that details just healthy lifestyle in general, a whole protocol and blueprint on exercise, stress management, lifestyle factors, and definitely nutrition. And then a book on herbalism that just is a very basic book that has basic herbs and its recommended remedies. Now, I don't 100% advocate any of these diets or any of these books. And you must understand you've got to read these books with skepticism and understand that they're not absolute. These are just starting points of information so that you can start to see the bigger picture over time and you can transition into more advanced forms. This is the reason why most people fall victim to things like veganism or alkaline diets and things like that, is because they start with something basic and they think it's the be all end all, but they just start there and they don't go anywhere. So you must also go into my more advanced reading suggestions as well, so that you don't end up with only a small portion of the picture, okay? So the very first recommendation I'll make is the Primal Blueprint by Mark Sisson. Okay, so you don't have to eat a paleo diet or a primal diet or anything like that. You could eat a so-called balanced diet, it's fine. But the reason why I like this book is because it does an amazing job of just making health simple. If you scroll through the pages of this book, it talks about the reasons why most people are unhealthy. It describes a basic, common lifestyle that most Americans follow. For example, most modern people follow, work a 9 to 5 job. They sit in a desk all day. So they have, tight muscles, muscular imbalances. They're stressed out. They don't get enough exercise, all because of their job. And they don't have enough time with their kids. And the list goes on. And it explains why that's unhealthy, some of the basic mechanisms as to what it does to your body. And then it gives you a solution to how to fix it. And it draws a parallel between that lifestyle and then eating junk on top of that, not getting enough sleep, guzzling caffeine and sugar on top of a 9 to 5 job. And it draws a parallel between that and compares it to a healthy lifestyle, or a lifestyle that they call, an ancestral lifestyle or a primal lifestyle, or what they believe was our ancestral lifestyle. But it's basically just a healthy lifestyle for humans, where you know, you're getting enough sleep. You are moving more periodically. If you work at a desk job, you get up and you take regular breaks where you go for a walk. You make sure you stretch. You make sure you have a mobility routine. You're eating, low glycemic load foods rather than, processed foods. You're getting enough sunlight. You're spending time with family. You're managing stress. So it talks about all of that, and it constantly compares it to the average unhealthy American. And so it really nails in this, true understanding of what causes health and what causes illness. And it becomes like no matter what diet you choose to follow after you read this book, it gives you it makes it very obvious to you now when you go to the grocery store and you see people and their food choices, what is causing their health problems, okay? And so it teaches you all the basics of nutrition, of exercise, of stress management, of sunlight and lifestyle factors, such as sedentary jobs and more active jobs, getting sunlight, not getting sunlight, play and why playing and having fun is important. Um, Discusses cortisol and these different hormones and how exercise affects it, which I have to say their exercise recommendations are extremely laid back, and I don't believe it's entirely accurate to say, to be afraid of cortisol like they are in this book. But if you follow all the recommendations in this book and you're overweight, you're going to get to a healthy weight and you're going to become healthier. But I will say that after you get to a healthy weight and you get into a good routine and you understand the basics of this book, it's important for you to watch my book on intermediate book recommendations so that you can get into a better exercise program. Because the exercise program he recommends in this book is effective and it works, but it's not nearly as effective as if you were to practice an actual good exercise program. He basically says two lifting sessions a week is more than enough, and it only has to last. One of them has to last 10 minutes, the other one 30 minutes. That's not enough weight training to really make a huge difference. Not in the long term, but in the short term, it'll work. For someone who just wants to be healthy and they're not exercising at all, this program will definitely work as far as the exercise is concerned. But lots of amazing stuff in this book. I mean, and it's just a book full of tools, really. It also discusses anti-nutrients. It discusses autoimmune diseases and how they can be triggered by certain foods and why those foods might trigger it. Things like gut permeability, which is basically where certain anti-nutrients in certain foods can actually damage the lining of the gut, and then certain nutrients can actually leak through the gut lining, and they can trigger an immune response, which can cause all sorts of health problems like eczema, psoriasis, fibromyalgia, and I've talked about how I reverse my health problems using this protocol. So I use an autoimmune paleo diet and principles from this book to reverse my own autoimmune illness. So this is a very powerful program, and it works. It works very well. So for people who don't have a basic understanding of physiology, it makes no sense to tell them, oh, it's a fad diet and blah, blah, blah. Like, it works, and it helps people understand the basics of a healthy lifestyle. And you could follow the principles in that book and still eat, grains and tacos and stuff. It's taking the principles and the ideas of the book and making it work for you that matters the most. And it's a good starting point, right? So then, after you read that book, if you really like it, I would recommend Mark Sisson's Primal Connection. The reason why I recommend this book is because Primal Blueprint talks more about nutrition and exercise, and it does touch on things like sunlight, meditation, stress management, and stuff. But this book, The Primal Connection, talks more about community, how to build proper relationships and friendships, how to build friendships that nourish you, rather than friendships that you're constantly butting heads. Basically talks about why you need to be around like-minded individuals, kind of like a tribe, if you will. And it kind of opens your eyes to why human beings tend to they tend to only be friends with people who share similar beliefs. Now I try to be around people of all different beliefs, and with my profession, I do jujitsu like three hours, MMA for about 3 to 4 hours a day, 5 times a week. I'm a personal trainer, always training various types of people. So, I have lots of friends with different belief systems, but this one talks about building your own tribe and why it's important to be around like-minded individuals. Talks about sunlight and why sunlight's so important, barefooted walking, breathing, and also having fun time. They call it primal play, which is a funny thing to say, really. It's a genre of something else. Talks about the importance of sleep, barefoot walking. Talks about regular movement, like walking through green environments and why that's so powerful. The power of the mind and curiosity, and a wide variety of different things that have to do with healthy lifestyle. So, after you read the Primal Blueprint, really hammering in the details to feel your best. This is more about well-being and basic health. Very, very good book, and pretty much everything that you will see in the health community, especially like on YouTube and stuff like that, but pretty much everything that you're going to hear and see in the health and nutrition community and exercise community is going to be discussing things that were mentioned in Mark Sisson's book. It's going to be mentioning things like getting sunlight, getting fresh air, muscular imbalances and correcting them, flexibility, stress, sleep, 9 to 5 jobs, anti-nutrients, whether meat is healthy or not, carbohydrate restriction, and all of those things. All the basics are talked about in that book, so it's very good. But again, if you want less fad diet approach, which, whatever, and you want more science, more evidence-based stuff, and you don't want to pretend to be a paleo person or whatever, then you're going to want to watch my intermediate book recommendations video. So the next one is The Green Pharmacy. So this book in particular, there might be some inaccurate information in this book. It's a very old book, but it's one of the most popular books created on the subject. It talks about a wide variety of different herbs and their general uses. It talks about the book is also divided into different ailments like indigestion, allergies, asthma, backache, headache, and it has different recommendations for different problems, different herbs and things that you can use, and exercises and things. Bad breath. If you want a book that will help you understand the basics of herbalism, this is really, really good book, okay? But as far as understanding herbs is concerned, so first of all, I don't really use herbal medicine as much as I used to ever since I got the basics of nutrition down. And you can read all the science of nutrition that you want, but I found that, and this is after trying all sorts of diets. I did a year of a ketogenic diet, a year of a vegan diet. I've done carnivore. I've done Mediterranean diet. But I found I don't need any herbs as long as I follow the principles outlined in this book, including the exercise, the nutrition, and everything. Pretty much all of the elements that people use herbs for, bad breath, headache, allergies, asthma, indigestion, it's all caused by nutrition and nutrient deficiencies and autoimmune triggers from certain foods that they're sensitive to. So I don't really use herbs as much. But if you want to understand herbs, this is a basic, very easy to understand book. So if you have any recommendations of your own, post them in the comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Let me know your book recommendations. Let me know your questions in the comments. And if you've read any of these books, please let me know your experience with them. Let me know, was it positive? Was it good? Was it bad? What do you agree about some of these concepts in these books? What do you disagree? I would love to hear your opinions. Post them down below. And definitely look up my intermediate book reading list, okay? Talk to y'all soon.